defenses, pointing out price, absolutely essential so that the patient can see his defenses, see the price. Because if he sees defenses, see price, it's much more easy for him to let go of them. Yeah. So ordinarily we would discuss the case and so on, but since this is our final meeting of the year before we start up again in the fall, I thought it might be useful just to hear from you what this year has been like for you. It's been a bit of an experiment for us to have this kind of a supervision group. I've never done one quite like this before, so it's be good to hear from all of you what this experience has been like for you, what you're learning from it, and yeah, just for us to get some feedback on how this has been working for you, and if there's any suggestions you have about how we could change or do things differently in the future. Because many of you are kind of silent lurkers, so I have no idea what's kind of going on in your mind. So this is our chance to really kind of hear from everyone, yeah, how this has been working and yeah, what you've been learning through this process.
I learned something new. I never thought about it. I need to know. So some surprise knowledge, some surprise knowledges. It's great.
Oh, I'm so pleased. What was most surprising in what you learned this year?
Oh man, I think there's a lot, but I can't recall now. I can't remember now.
Hmm,
There's
hmm.
a lot.
Well, I'm glad you were learning something new and different.
Okay, whenever I listened to the supervision, I said, I must register for the core training. And then when I think that I would have to put my work on video, I said, forget it, forget it. I'll just do the supervision. And I learned a lot because whenever I see myself doing things with patients, okay, this is from last time what we did with John. I'm directing the patient, I'm leading the patient, let him or her do their own thing, react differently. So I see how what you teach is registering at my own pace.
Hmm. How has your, because this is an interesting thing, right? Because usually we think supervision works because someone's in supervision, but you've really been observing the supervision of other people's work. And how has your work changed as a result of what you've been learning this year?
I speak less. I pay attention to different points. I bring up the point, not the side, because I don't do total pure ISTDP,
Hmm.
but I see the points that help me that I'm confident doing and I can follow through. So when let's see, in couples the other day, there was somebody who said, who was complaining, and the partner said, I felt blame, and she wouldn't hear that, and she was defending. I said, did you hear what he said? And so the word was useful to point out. All I had to do was that, and then I let them interact, which we've never seen couples, but that's just one example that happened yesterday. I know that I speak much less, and I let the person pay attention to what that means, what the feeling, and the transference. Of course, the transference, because
Hmm.
you've highlighted it so often, plus what we've done, you and I, in the past, that I'm aware of it. And whenever I pay attention, I see how much it's being repeated. And so
Hmm.
it's helpful to make the connection for the patient and see how, yes, yes, I may be a nice person, but I am their mother or I am the father. And so it's helpful, yes, very important to make the connection with the transference.
Hmm. Hmm. Lovely that you could block that defense in the couple's work so that something could get going. I
Yes.
wonder, because of course, Nicole and I have known each other for many years. We worked at a clinic together many, many years ago. But I'm wondering, so you obviously know a great deal about transference. How has your work with transference changed this year then?
Before I redid this course of supervision with you, I let it go a little bit. I wasn't as into it. Of course, I did when we first worked together a zillion years ago. But then I forgot. I didn't. I it lay dormant. And with you this time, this year, it's been very present. I keep thinking about it during each session. What's happening? Where's the transference here?
Mhm, 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 mhm,
I
mhm.
remember the other day somebody told me that I had seen some time ago, and then she started reconnecting and wanting more sessions. And by the second session, she said, "Yes, my life is totally changed since I divorced, and I have boyfriends. I don't want any long-term relationship. I just want little one in and out, in and out." And guess what? I haven't seen her since. And I knew when I heard her, I knew it could happen. And
Yeah.
she canceled one session, then she didn't even cancel, she didn't show up, then that was the end of it. But I wasn't surprised because I said,
Mhm.
she told me.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was fun.
Yeah. What other things did the rest of you learn this year? What was standing out for you?
I think we're all really hard on ourselves. Most of us are. I know I am. And the way that you were with us in just like, because if we're going to do the job, we have to be as whole as we can be. And there's the skills, and there's a lot of great things from skills that I've learned. And I think what I'm doing, I still make tons of mistakes every day. And sometimes things land better. And I think I'm being a little less hard on myself when I make the mistake. So my critical superego is lessened a bit. I feel sad. I feel the feelings I have about not helping people when I want to help them. Or I can go, oh, geez, I got caught into that blind spot like we were talking last session there. So more forgiving of, I think a lot of us felt that. I think I pick up a lot of us are hard on ourselves. I think that's why we became therapists.
It's
And
very easy for us to misuse our mistakes for the purpose of self-torture.
yeah.
And since we will always make mistakes, we've always got material we could misuse. So yeah, we have to really be on top of that. Otherwise, yeah, we could descend into a hell of self-criticism. Yeah, which doesn't really help us. And like I joke with you all the time, have you received enough criticism in your life? And everybody says yes. So you don't need criticism from me. And likewise, your patients don't need criticism from you. I just want to pick up on one thing you said, Adam. We need to become more whole. What if
Hmm.
you're already whole?
Right.
What if this is the wholeness of this moment,
Right.
right? Yeah, when I'm with a patient, yeah, that's the wholeness of John. Now, I could wish that the wholeness with John was something more exalted or better, right? I certainly have those hopes still. But this is the wholeness. This is, yeah, if you're looking for more John than there is John, yeah, you're out of luck. Just like if someone is waiting for more Adam to show up, they're just out of luck. This is the Adam. This is the wholeness of Adam that's here today. Like you're already whole. It's just you could wish that wholeness looked different, right? Just like Tom, he had a mother who was saying, "This is not the wholeness I was looking for in my son. So shape up. I've got a wholeness fantasy here, Tom. And so just start looking like my wholeness fantasy." Well, it's like it wasn't Tom's job to look like her fantasy. Tom was already whole as Tom. That was the wholeness of Tom. And it's the wholeness of Tom today. I'm going into this a little bit because there are these secret little ways our self-attack can be kind of manifest. It sounds so great, wanting to be more whole, right?
Hmm.
It's like there should be more reality than there is today. Well,
Hmm.
if you say there should be more reality than there is today, everyone would say it's kind of crazy. If you say I should be more whole, we don't realize that's crazy. Yeah, you're already whole. This is the wholeness, right? Like there should be more Adam than there is today. I don't think so. There should be more Tom than there is Tom today. No, This is what's here. So I think getting really clear about some of these little subtle things also helps you get really clear with your patients too. Like this patient should not be any different than he is today. Every response he said today was the perfect expression of his need for help. And we get caught, no, the patient shouldn't be this way. He's a bad patient. Instead of like, no, this patient should show up this way. This is the wholeness of him. He's perfectly expressing where he needs help. So there's these little subtle ways that self-criticism in the past can manifest, and we kind of have to get that all teased out in a way, so we're more comfortable in ourselves, right? I'm like you too. I have those days like I wish the wholeness of John was a little bit more whole than this, meaning I wish I could knew how to understand what I'm facing right now because I don't understand this. This is a universal experience for all of us. Yeah. What's your reaction to hearing that, Adam?
It it's it's funny how you can cognitively know something and say it to people, and experientially it's right? It's different. You can say one thing, and I find this almost not hypocrite. It's not a hypocrite. I'm not a hypocrite, but I'm relearning to play guitar. And what's great is that my guitar teacher is exactly like, it's funny. She's critical, but not critical. She's critical of the parts that stop me, and like, you're not failing. Your fingers can just only go as fast as they can go. Your fingers are as good as they could possibly be. You haven't done the training. You don't know. Like, it's almost like I hear her, and you don't know. You don't know how long it takes. You don't know how many resistance identifications it takes. You don't know how long it takes to get to 16th notes. Just notice where your error is and just slow down and just practice. And just
Exactly.
like that's where you're at. Like, instead of, oh God, geez, I didn't get it. Just this is like, in a sense, the wholeness of this is where I'm at. Like, it's
Exactly.
the best
Yeah,
I can do.
exactly. Well, as you know, I used to be a professional musician. I took lessons for
Yeah,
years, and no, when I started out playing the horn, my teacher never said, "How come you can't play Mahler Fifth Symphony?"
yeah,
No teacher ever said crap like that, right? They always met me exactly where my skill level was, and so let's work on this skill because that was a skill I needed at that stage of my development. Just like I was saying to
yeah,
Tom, Tom knows tons of things. He's a highly trained therapist. At this stage of development, Tom's needed help with resistance identification clarification. So yeah, that's what we're working on, but it's just paying
yeah.
attention to what's the most important skill now, and let's just learn that. And that's how we learn in this successive way. But we forget in a way that there are these skills and they are at different levels of complexity, and we have to master each one kind of in turn in order to put it all together. And that takes time.
It's interesting. I can relate to an instrument better than a person, because the person, of course, brings up all the attachment stuff, right? So I learn to be more accepting of me and my instrument, but it's still
Exactly.
me and the client. It's like, it's still
Exactly.
help a lot,
Yeah.
but
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. What other things have you learned this day? What other? Because for some of you, it's like Nicole's reaction is particularly useful because some of you have been able to learn just by observing. I'm finding that really interesting. Because usually in supervision, you learn by having the individual supervision on your cases, but some of you are observing. What changes are you noticing when you're in the role of an observer? What changes have you noticed?
May I add something? I would like to express my admiration to everybody who presented, because it's so humbling to talk about your mistakes and to show to everybody your level of capacity. We all have different levels. Some people have learned way longer and present with more knowledge. And I'm in awe with everybody who presented so openly and were able to hear not criticism, but the ways to do it better, because you also know how to do it very diplomatically and kindly and not judgmental like Tom's mother. just to name one. But so thank you for all the group for doing that. I know I'm not capable to showcases. Yuval said, let's hear therapy in French. No. So
Well,
thank you.
I want to also thank the group, though, because you as a group agreed to create a culture of compassion and a culture of understanding where we're not here to criticize, we're here to learn. And because the only way people could feel safe to present here was knowing that we promised to be compassionate to presenters and we promised to identify with these struggles because that's the only way a supervision group can work. And I think the group has done a lovely job this year of creating a culture of compassion that created a sense of safety so people could present in this format. Now that's the other piece that goes with it because it's not just me, it's really the group as a whole making that promise to support one another. Chelsea.
Yeah, I echo that, Nicole. Thank you for everyone presenting. It was so valuable to watch, and I hope to present one day to you, John, and get your direct supervision, but being a witness has been so valuable. I've written so many notes. Um, but one of the big takeaways I've learned is how to help the patient face reality.
Mm-hmm.
How to myself face reality
Mm-hmm.
with the patient, whatever that may be, because
Right.
the truth is that, people are suffering or in horrible situations and coming for help. And I think in that facing the reality that you emphasized a lot, particularly in the beginning, the importance of tone of voice and friendliness and
Mm-hmm.
not labeling the client, but deciding together, okay, so this is the resistances and these are the patterns. And then, letting that build your alliance and kind of steer the ship. So that was
Mm-hmm.
really helpful because I think, all the learning, it's kind of like so much is going on in my head of seeing everything and labeling and trying to figure out and assess what's happening. And that's important, but this is their life and they need to see all those things and they need to kind of be on board
Yeah.
all that. So um yeah, it was amazing. Thank you.
Well, I'm so pleased you found it helpful. And it's also really important that we never equate the patient with their defenses. We never equate the patient with their resistances, right? I
Yeah.
just feel like you're criticizing me. A patient might say, "Oh, well, thanks for letting me know. Actually, I wasn't talking about you at all." They're going to be shocked. I was talking about some strategies. So I haven't actually said anything about you. I'm just talking about some strategies for handling feelings. And it sounds like some of these strategies are causing your symptoms. And so if I notice any strategies that are happening outside your awareness that are causing your difficulties, do I have your permission to point those strategies out so you could be in control instead of those strategies being in control of you? So always differentiating the patient from defenses, from resistances, so you're forming a relationship with the patient where then we can observe those defenses or those strategies. That's really differentiating the patient from these learned strategies of adaptation. And
Mm-hmm.
that's also extremely important so the patient never feels criticized because you're actually never talking about them. You're talking about some strategies.
Yeah. Yeah. And that they should enjoy the process of therapy. I think it's really easy to get critical and and so I took note of that too. I don't know when you said it, but the process of therapy should feel good to the patient. So I try to
It,
remember that too.
yeah. Yeah, I mean, there's going to be points that it feels very painful. It
Mhm.
feels very painful. I mean, I was asked to consult on a case yesterday, and the patient said, "This therapy feels like hell when I'm in. And it's been feeling like hell for six months." And this therapist let a therapist feel like hell for 6 months. Well, that's just simply not a helpful experience. There's no therapy model that says feel like crap, feel like you're in hell for 6 months and somehow something's good going to happen. No, feeling like hell just teaches you to feel like hell. I said, no, you need to leave that therapist. And of course, the therapist was not happy to hear that I'd urged the patient to terminate, but for heaven's sakes, yeah, we're supposed to get better.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and all of us have had situations where a patient felt like hell, or we're getting stuck, and that's when we seek consultation, say, I must be doing something wrong because this feels terrible to the patient. We got to figure out why.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. Other responses. And especially for those of you who've been observers, how has your work changed as observers? Because this is very interesting and important feedback.
I saw a hand up, and I don't know if I hope I say your name right. Is it Satara?
بله من بودم جان من میخواستم تشکر بکنم چون اینکه این جلسات خیلی به من کمک کرد و من یه فیدبک خیلی خوبی گرفتم. اینکه مراجعین من به من اینو اعلام میکنن و میگن که خیلی جالبه، خیلیاشون دانشجو روانشناسی هستن و به من میگن که تو سوپرویژن با جان داری چون خیلی کار تغییر کرده. و یاد گرفتم که چیزایی که خیلی خوب به من کمک کرد این که مثل یه عقاب ببینم و در هر لحظه مثلث تعارض رو چک بکنم. اینا چیزایی بود که به من خیلی کمک کردش و اون مواجهه با واقعیت برای من خیلی کمک کننده بودش.
Can somebody translate?
She said, I'm so grateful that my
Do you have
patients,
my voice? Okay, that's fine. If you want to go ahead, go ahead.
okay, my patients say, are you John Fredrickson? Are you in John Fredrickson's supervisions that we see your change? You are changing a lot in your work, and you help me to see just like an uh, eagle.
Eagle, yeah.
Yeah, just like an eagle. And Layla, please.
No, you did it. You did it perfectly. Just one last thing that I've learned to, as Zahra said, to have eagle's eyes and to be able to check the triangle of conflict moment by moment, and this has helped me a lot. Thanks, Zahra.
Well, thank you so much, and thank you so much for translating. Yeah. Yeah, it is.
Okay.
It's important to understand not only that there's a triangle of conflict, but that we analyze every patient response in terms of triangle of conflict. So, like, is that response feeling that we're going to explore? Is it anxiety we need to regulate? Or is it a defense or resistance we need to identify and clarify? So that identifying where each response is on the triangle of conflict actually just gives us the supervision we need for our next intervention. That's the radical understanding of triangle of conflict.
John, please check the comments because it's hard to say for me, but I write.
نه دست درد نکنه.
Oh, Nicole, can you turn your microphone on? I thought you were saying something, Nicole. Perhaps
I thought I was muted, but
you were muted, but I saw you talking, so I thought perhaps you were speaking to the group. Okay, sorry. Well, I'm so glad that this has been a useful experience for all of you, and it's been a true pleasure to do this. And I look forward to seeing all of you this coming fall. So we'll do another year of doing this at the same time on Thursdays, and Yuval has given you the link to register. We'll have one group that's for people who have not been in core training, and we'll have another group for people who've completed a core training. So we'll have two different groups. One is like this one, and one will be a little bit more advanced. So I will look forward to seeing all of you this coming year. I hope you have a nice holiday this summer for those of you who are in the summer. And I'll look forward to seeing you all this fall. Take care, everyone. And thanks to Yuval for coordinating all this.
Thank you. See you all. Thank you, John.
Thank you, Yuval.
Thank
Bye-bye,
you.
everyone.
Thank you.
Bye bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.